Hello everybody, welcome back to the Herefordshire Gardener channel. My name's Aaron. This is a slightly different rose review video this time. I'm hoping with all of your combined effort you're going to help me to identify a rose that I've got here to the right of me. A little bit of a backstory. So I bought some roses a few years back from a lady called Tanya off of a Facebook group called Tanya's Gardens. Hoping to get a few quite exclusive David Austin varieties. Sadly, some of them didn't turn out to be the roses that I'd purchased. Some of you may have had the same experience, but I did get this rose, and I watched it last year, and to be honest, it didn't really do a tremendous amount in terms of blooming. As I've mentioned in my previous videos, I think that last year was a little bit of a write-off, just too wet for anything really, especially here in Herefordshire, UK. This year this rose has completely floored me. It has taken me by surprise, and I love that. So stick around, see what you think. I'll do my best to describe it in as much detail as possible. If you do have any suggestions, leave them in the comment section. And remember, as always, give the video a thumbs up if you're enjoying what you're watching, just to help it go out on YouTube to other like-minded individuals, and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy. So we're in the kitchen garden, which is where a lot of these roses are. That's the chickens over there. Hello girls. The rose in question is actually on the inside of the fruit cage, and it's just behind Roald Dahl. You can see it just in the background through there. There's quite a few roses in bloom, so we'll go around the other side and I'll show you it. Before we get to that rose, I just want to let you know my personal opinions on striped roses or marbled roses. As you can see from the roses that I have in my collection, it's not a type of rose that I usually go for. I think sometimes the stripes in roses can make them look a little bit tacky, in my opinion. Having said that, there are some beautiful striped roses out there. I think we have one on the property over by the house, which the original owners purchased, and that one's called Ferdinand Pitchard Rose. I've got to be honest, it's not really my cup of tea, and I'm probably going to be moving that to an area that's not quite as in my face. It almost looks like raspberry rippled ice cream, and the blooms are quite dark pink on that Ferdinand Pitchard, whereas the lighter tones are more quite contrasting whites. So bear that in mind if you know Ferdinand Pitchard. The new rose that David Austin released that I saw at Chelsea, I've yet to do an upload video on my opinion on that, so I'll hold that for now. But the King's Rose, as you know, is a striped rose. It's the first one in the David Austin collection, actually. So, you know, maybe they're becoming a little bit more popular, I don't know. But personally, not usually my cup of tea. Having said that, hold that thought, because I might well have just changed my mind with this rose. And if you can identify this, please do, because I'd love to know what it is. I only don't know what it is because I was sent the wrong rose, essentially. So if I just bring you down through these roses, and we'll bring you down to this beauty. I just want you to take a look from here. There it is, right in front of us. One of the first things that I noticed on this year is the size of that cup. And it is a cup, it's a massive cup. Absolutely ginormous. So that's the first point I want to note. The second point is just the amount of foliage on this rose. I mean, it's romping on. And it's got this lovely burgundy colour to the new leaves as they emerge, and then they sort of fade out. You see the green coming through. I think that's a really nice detail on this foliage, and then they end up dark glossy green. Quite thorny stems, as you can see in the base. I would say very high thorn count. although it tends to be more towards the bottom, because as you go up the shrub, particularly on these new stems, you can see there's barely any, in fact. It's only really the main stems that seem to have the thorns at the bottom, but that's a good adaptation, I guess, because it stops nibbling mammals from destroying the lifeline of the rose. So thorns at the bottom, not so much at the top, as you can see here in this stem. Gorgeous burgundy red foliage. A lot of these seem to be ending in singular blooms, although there are stems with multiple blooms. I'm gonna see if we can find an unopened bud. It's got a lovely twist. So this is not a David Austin, I know that for certain, because they don't have oak like this in their range, apart from the King's Rose, which is nothing like this rose. I'll be honest with you, had they released a rose like this at Chelsea this year, I'd have fallen in love, because it's beautiful. And I think, no offence to David Austin, and I'm not bringing any sort of negative vibes on the King's Rose, I think I'm going to try hold my opinion because I'm going to do a review video. It's a very good rose in my opinion. It's better in person than it is on the pictures. Pollinator friendly, it's for a great cause in terms of the King's Trust. So yeah, I think lots of positives with that rose. Not necessarily something that I would pick out myself. But yeah, this is what I would have expected David Austin to release if they released a stripy rose for their first ever striped rose. So anyway, coming back to this, we've got sort of apple green, mid green, sort of much lighter than the leaves, I'd say, when they're mature. Buds, lovely sort of twist, a bit of burgundy in there as well. Again, these new leaves, a lovely burgundy colour and very glossy. Then let's sort of, I'm trying not to show you the blooms yet. If we come over to the emerging buds, look at this. So you know it's going to be a stripy rose, or maybe not, but it's got a lovely sort of deep blood red marbling, and you can see hints of yellow and peach in there. You can see it more on this one actually. So already seems like there's going to be some interesting colours coming out on it. If you look at the sepals, they've got this red stripe on each one. You can see them again on this one. So it's extra detailing that I really like. Anyway, as this rose opens, this is a slightly older bloom. I've only got 2 open at the moment. There's a lot more to come, but just look at that. The yellow, because of the yellow in the buds, you get this gorgeous Claire Austin cream. It is absolutely gorgeous. High petal count. It's got a gorgeous cup. They do flatten out as the, it's more of a bowl than a cup, as the blooms age. And the pinks, which are marbled through there, they do fade. So they're not as in your face. And I think the combination there, it's almost like the David Austin Wedding Rose Constance. The colour combination's not the way that the colour's distributed. Very pollinator friendly. Look at all those pollen beetles in there and the stamens in there. And each petal is very different. A bit like the King's Rose, hand painted. So you get that variation, and no 2 blooms are the same on this one. What I really like about this rose compared to other striped roses is the fact that we've got a soft pink. Bit like Gertrude to start off with, but then paling out. But I like it against the creamy white, not a pure white. Pure white looks tacky with this candy stripe. This sort of soft creaminess, I think, just gives this rose the edge for me. And I completely prefer this over the King's Rose any day of the week. It's absolutely beautiful. Fragrance wise, it's got a medium to strong tea rose fragrance. It is beautiful. I'd be happy to have this in this room when I finished designing the kitchen garden, and I'm probably going to take cuttings from this and propagate it. I just think a combination of the burgundy foliage, the dark green foliage as well that you get, this sort of in-between state, the gloss on the leaf, the fact that the buds open up like this, and I wish there were a few more you know, fully open, because it looks like a completely different rose to this when it's open, and it's more yellows and reds, and it looks tropical and just beautiful. And then as it opens, that yellow just pales out into this lovely, delicious cream colour, high petal count. It opens up more as the bloom matures, maintaining that lovely deep cut with the outermost petals reflex back like some of the Austins, which just pushes that cup up a little bit more. These are some of the ones that are blooming in clusters, look. So this one did have 3. I think this one's got another 2 to come out under there. But there's loads of blooms coming, so I know it's a rebloomer. It's not a once flowering rose. See if I can have a look from this side. Look at the coloration of that foliage. That alone is a desired characteristic for me in any rose. I love it when there's more interest in the foliage as well. But just look at that bloom. This rose honestly has shown me that actually I do like the striped roses. This one. I don't like the Ferdinand Pritchard. It's nothing like this. This is soft and rich, and it's elegant. Combined with that beautiful tea rose fragrance and the interest in the buds as well as they come out with the yellow and the red. I just thought I'm gonna have to do a review video of this. I must know who it is. So hopefully you've got enough information there to go on. Let's just have a look at those thorns. So very, very large thorns. There is a few here on this one. It's quite a variable thorn count. So some of the stems have got these sort of candy coloured spiky narrow thorns on, and then some of them are practically thorn free. Did I say that the right way around? Thorn free. Yeah, I think I did. So yeah, beautiful rose. Can you imagine if David Austin had brought this one out? If this is what everybody was reviewing at Chelsea this year. I mean, that's pollinator friendly, so this one could have been the King's Rose. Just beautiful. You imagine when that's covered in those blooms, how stunning that looks. So I'm officially converted, guys. Never liked stripy roses until this one started blooming. And it's just the large classic sort of English rose shape that does it for me, I think. And the petal count, and the soft pink, and the yellow in the buds, and the leaf colour, and the gloss, and the growth habit. It's beautiful. It's reached the top of this obelisk this year, and that's probably about 4.5 to 5 foot. That's probably already maybe 1.5 to 2 foot wide. So it's going to grow bigger than that for sure. Not sure if it's a climber. Very difficult to tell at this stage. So yeah, please leave a comment in the comment section if you know who it is. I've had a Google search. I've checked loads of different roses, which there are many striped or candy striped roses as they're often called, but I can't find this one. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks again for watching. Remember, give the video a like and hit the subscribe button. Take care.